It did, absolutely. There was a really good foxing game going on there, but what we don't want to see, I guess, is some of the chaos that ensued off the back of it. Great to hear Craig not mincing his words there towards the end. He actually fired up and gave us what I felt like was a real genuine opinion. So great to hear that from CL.
200 kilometres coming up later on today. Armour All qualifying not too far away. There's your grid for this race. An inversion of the top 15 gives Pointing and Reece Chapman a front row start. Bruce Duckworth on the second row with Craig Thompson, Kyle Ensby and Lee Bowler, down to Chris Stevenson and Jay Robson. Then you start to get to the pointer end of the field here. Joel Heinrich and Blake Skiveris. Tony Quinn gave up the pole position. We'll start from the middle of the field here in the number 100 entry down towards the back. The two Clarks may not get out for this one. We'll keep an eye on that. And David Macon in the 29th. We're hearing he might be just making it out onto the circuit. So well done to that team to do an engine change, because that engine looked like Swiss cheese after race 2 this morning.
Absolutely, it did. He had some really good smoke signals going as he came down into the pit lane. Not a huge amount of turnaround, so these cars are pretty user-friendly to work on, but the reality of it is to get one engine out and another one in takes some time, and those guys have done a mega job, so well done.
All hands on deck in the pits in that hour and a half we've had between races. Warming up outside, it's still a cold breeze blowing across this Sydney Motorsport Park complex as we're on board with Bruce Duckworth. The inversion of the top 15. This is common for race 3 of the Aussie racing cars, and it certainly will mix it up. We've had enough excitement in the first 2 races. We're guaranteed more in race number 3. Charlotte Pointing on the right-hand side there, probably about 2 or 3 foot away from the front of the grid box there.
Yeah, just giving herself plenty of margin to make sure that she doesn't roll over the line there, off the start line. So probably could afford to go forward a couple of metres.
It is a tricky start, this circuit, being downhill.
Yeah, it's not so bad on the first 2 rows, but the further up the hill you go, then yes, there is a bit of an incline. So these guys will know that, particularly the guys at the sharp end of the field. They'll be having a little bit of brake pressure there, ready to go for when we see the red lights go out, and off they'll go. It actually does help on your 0 to 100 speed when you're a bit further up the grid there, because that initial jump is helped.
Especially from row 5 onwards. As the green flag waves at the back. Charlotte Pointing, she started on the front row in Townsville for the reverse top 15 race. She's on pole position on the inside of the track alongside Reece Chapman as we're underway in race number 3 of round 5 of this year's Aussie Racing Car Super Series. And she's got a good start here from the front row, but Reece Chapman should sweep across and take the lead by the time we get down to turn number 1. But she made a big start there in car 52.
Yeah, great jump from Pointing, but it was that second phase, exactly what we saw from Tressida in the earlier race today, where the back of the car just skidded loose on the white line and she lost a bit of traction, and that was the bit that enabled Chapman to swing around the outside into 1.
This is Bruce Duckworth in the Laser Plumbing and Electrical number 10, one of the cars carrying a camera for us today. Chris Stevenson side by side with Jay Robson, and a contact in the background as Joel Heinrich into the tyre wall on the left-hand side. Will he be able to get out of that? Lucky those tyres are 4 or 5 deep.
Yeah, it didn't look too hard a hit, a little bit of body damage there, but it just went quiet to see if he was going to be able to get it into gear and get going. But look how busy this is.
Is that 5 wide?
Down the inside. Oh no, and Woods is still in the thick of it.
He'll be dizzy.
Feels pretty comfortable spinning in that.
Yeah, and more dramas now at the top of turn 2 for Maddie Dunstan. Heinrich is limping away. I think there is terminal damage to that car. Good news is he can turn left and go back into the paddock. 3 cars facing the wrong direction on the first lap, and the Vodafone safety car has been called. We've SMS'd it. It's on its way out.
Yeah, I was hoping there that Heinrich getting out of the tyre bundle would allow us to not have a safety car, but looking in the background as he was rolling down the hill, there was plenty of rocks and stuff over the road, and then these guys here look like they're in a similar situation, particularly Maddie Dunstan, like she was yesterday. She may have a starter motor issue in that car.
Maybe the same for Ian Shivers. He's trying to clutch start it maybe, and now the officials trying to push this away. Plenty to talk about from the start. Impressive start for Pointing here.
Yeah, great jump. As I mentioned, she got away, and there's the example that I was talking about. The rear of the car just lit up in that second phase of the start for Pointing, and it was enough to allow Chapman to get the whole shot and lead through turn 1.
We'll be excited. He's a race winner, his first win at Barbagallo this year. So watching towards the back of the field. Here's the replay from Bruce Duckworth. He's dropped back to 11th position from the second row. Oh, box full of neutrals there for a split second.
Yeah, misshift for him, unfortunately, and you can see now he's getting swamped from both the left and right-hand sides. Nothing worse there than when you have a little misshift off the start and you just feel like you're gone very quickly from being on the offensive to the defensive mode and making sure that you're not going to get tagged from behind.
You can see up in the mirror, all the cars just swarming around the back of him. That's Heinrich behind him here. This replay from outside. So this might tell us what happened to Matty Dunstan and Ian Shivers in their Silkgate Group entry. So Woods actually went off there the first time in the Kia Penrith entry. And Shivers on his own, and was there contact there with Sam Chester? Yeah,
Chester definitely helped Dunstan around. As we've learned from yesterday, as soon as these cars go around and they roll backwards a little bit, if the guys and girls are not quick enough to get on the clutch, it hurts the starter motor. Oh, that was busy, wasn't it?
We stood back from the TV monitor. We're not even near the incident. Bruce Duckworth, so he got into the side with some assistance from another car around there too, and that's why he's dropped down outside the top 10. This happened down here between, that was Duckworth and Woods getting together. And this is the sort of stuff that gets promoted when you have the mid-pack scramble, where the faster guys are trying to carve their way through the field. It's pretty much guaranteed that's going to happen.
Yeah, real need for these guys here, particularly the fast guys that are buried deep in the pack. They need to approach this race with a different mindset to what they have for the previous two, where they're off the front of the grid, they've got clear air, and the natural flow of the fast guys are able to just drive away from everyone. At the moment, they're buried, as I mentioned, deep in the pack, so they're going to have to be conscious. These cars don't run brake lights, but when they come up onto a slower car, that they need to brake a little bit earlier, maybe not carry as much corner speed and survive these opening 2 laps, because we all know to finish first you've got to finish.
A classic cliche, but
Absolutely.
Still so true, isn't it? The Vodafone safety car leads the field around here. Laps count towards the race total. Get to 10:43 and 1 lap. It's about 7 minutes away at the moment. His car's weaved behind. So Chapman, Tucker, Robson, Thompson is your top 4. Then Lee Bowler. Blake Skibberus is 6th now. The 68 machine started in 12th. He's up to 6th. Then Chris Stevenson, Kel Tressida now inside the top 10 as Ian Shivers gets away. That's good news for the Silkgate Group. Number 6 will take his spot at the back of the field, albeit 1 lap down. Pointing's now 9th. Kyle Ensby, another top 10 result here at the moment for the rookie. Bruce Duckworth back to 11. Tony Quinn in the number 100. He's back in 12th position. Then Duckworth 13th, Carr 14th, Adam Kazukio in 15th. Paul Faber up to 16th now. Woods is 17th with a bit of work to do. And the rest of the field lining up behind him right now. Let's take a replay from on board with Duckworth.
And again, another bit of a tardy start there for Duckworth. So, you know, we gave him the benefit of the doubt and another mirror adjustment.
Did he get the Phillips head out on that later on?
A little bit of OCD going on there, I think. But yeah, he just struggled again with drive off the start line. It's not something that he looks like he battles with once he gets into the flow of the race, but maybe just a bit quick off that clutch pedal. Look how busy this is here, Matt. We see Craig Woods out on the outside there. He has been massively in amongst it this weekend, hasn't he? And we know that in a couple of corners, he's going to end up being a spinning top.
Oh, and that was Heinrich. You see Duckworth just look out to the left-hand side. Don't come back, don't come back.
Yeah.
Safely through.
And it's a natural reaction from within the car. You can sort of see it out of your peripheral vision. We get the outside shot here. Duckworth would have been going, is that going to come towards me or the outside?
Tyre wall arrested. There's actually some gravel in front of that too, which will stop him going back out onto the circuit. And tyre wall put in many, many years ago. Seen cars hit that wall. I remember Stephen Richards having a big crash there back in 2007, almost destroyed his FPR Falcon.
While we're under safety car, Joel Heinrich, you saw the involved in that incident before, has taken the opportunity to come into pit lane to check the car out. There's some rear wing damage, it's bent, everything else seems to be okay, and he's managed to stay on the lead lap. Just doing his best to try and keep under the radar, but catch up to the back of the pack.
And stay on the drama cam, I think is probably the best thing to do right now. Thank you for that down in pit lane. So restart coming up at the end of this lap. The Vodafone safety car will turn the lights off and head back into pit lane. We'll turn back up the heat at the end of lap number 3 here. I'm sure we'll go to time certain land here. Still 8 laps, it'll be 7 to go when we come past next time by. A little bit of heat haze just starting to come off the track there. That's a good sign. It's been very cold here this weekend at Sydney. Don't let the sun fool you. It's been bitterly cold with some big wind gusts on Friday. Still fairly steady out there now.
Yeah, it's been absolutely bitterly cold, like you mentioned, mate. It's top of 18, but feels like about -2 with that wind chill factor coming in from the Blue Mountains. So we've seen the safety car lights go out here. Everybody's going to go to 2 files. Chapman's a bit keen there to swap positions.
Yeah,
make sure he's on the inside, so just incorrectly positioned, but he's in control of this race. So as we come up to the start line here, he'll be looking for the green flag out to the right-hand side, and when he determines it's right to go, the field will jump.
You saw him gesticulating across towards Tucker saying, dude, you're on this side of the track. He sorted that out by accelerating away from the 4 car. Rows of 2 back at the restart. The Vodafone safety car is back in the pits, and the green flag's about to fly in the stiff breeze here at Sydney Motorsport Park. As down to the start line, it's a slow build-up, and we're back underway here in race number 3 in Sydney.
Advantage Chapman there, so it is an advantage when you're the guy on pole controlling those restarts. And he got a mega jump to clear the field to lead with a big oversteer through turn 1. So massive commitment there from Chapman, good to see.
Up to turn 2 they go. So Robson down the inside, up to 2nd position now. The 98 started in 10th position and now runs 2nd, and on the charge of Reece Chapman in car 25.
Yeah, so he made really good inroads before that safety car came out. He got a cracking start, was able to get 3 cars off the start line before they got to the exit of turn 1, and since then, he still made some more gains.
That's Ross Higgins, who's gone off the Colac windscreens entry. On the restart lap, around the backside we go. Here's Thompson under siege further back in the field. Kasukio is in this as well, Bruce Duckworth, and about 10 other cars. As they head around through turn 6 and the drive uphill. On board with Bruce Duckworth now, car number 10. He's running in 10th position. Kyle Insby ahead, and now Kasuk. Oh, how's the oversteer in the turn?
Big oversteer. Looked pretty comfortable with it. He wasn't fighting the steering wheel. He just had it, let the car have its natural slide, caught it, and went, yep, all in a day's work.
Love restart laps. You know, the experienced drivers have got these tyres back up the temperature. Down to turn 9 we go again, side by side. Into this complex. It's a tricky complex because you're going hard right and it suddenly goes sharp left into a double left-hander here.
Yeah, and that gentle right, you're on the brake a lot, so you're balancing between turning the steering wheel and not having too much brake pressure on that you're going to lock a front tyre on the right-hand side before you have to flick the car to the left. They look great through there, these little cars, because of the way they do slide around. Big move here from Robson. He's having a cheeky look. Speaking of sliding the car around, look at Chapman.
Yes. Very exciting. Chapman, race winner early this year. Robson has got a bag full of wins to his name, and the lead-ins here he's rookie in 2017. As they start to cut away from the rest of the field. Tressida now up to 3rd position. The 75 started back in 13th as Robson menacing the back of car 25 here.
The way Chapman's driving that car looks like he'd be at home on the speedway in a sprint car at the minute. Duckworth. Another position gain there, moves him up into 5th. Robson still can't find a way around Chapman. Doing a great job leading that race. We see Tressida now with Duckworth following him. So I expect to see those 2 guys really put their heads down and try and chase down the leading 2.
So Craig Woods is up to 11th place now after spinning down at turn number 6. Down the inside, side by side, hard to do because the track drops away rapidly on the right-hand side. Even a bit of AstroTurf that's been added, you don't want to get wheels on there.
No, and there's a really sort of smooth but large bump in the centre of turn 7 corner there, and that upsets pretty much every car that is racing around there, and I think that's what kicked Duckworth's car into that massive moment that we saw earlier, but he sorted that out for the next lap and looked much smoother and a lot faster.
So down the main straight, Tressida with Duckworth pushing along as now Robson. Chapman got the car a little bit sideways on the exit of the final turn, and this should be enough. Look at the move from Duckworth in the background. Lucky you're alongside me. There's too much action happening here on the final lap, and Robson has got through to take the lead.
Pretty much 2 carbon copy moves happening at exactly the same time. One for the lead and one for the final position on the podium. Look at Chapman. He's got some steer in that car. The back of it is just swinging around.
It looks cool, but not the effective way to get faster around the track.
No, but he's doing a really good job with it. I mean, it's that whole balance between if I'm nervous, I can be fast, but it's going to kill the tyre.
Tressida, a bit of work to do. He's 4th, and Duckworth looking to set the fastest lap on the last lap of this race. We've had to go time certain. We've gone past that point now due to the Vodafone safety car earlier in this race. We're down to turn 6 for the final time.
Duckworth, magenta through the first sector, which is pretty fast at this point in the race. So he's on a massive mission to try and catch Chapman, and has actually made that move stick and got by him.
Thompson locking the break up left-hand side. Charlotte Pointing has dropped back down to 15th position, where she finished in the race earlier today after starting from pole position. 5-car scrap here. It's really closed up on the last lap now. So Tressida on Chapman. Duckworth has got up to second now as well. So Chapman holding on tight here and needs to get the final corner here right.
Late there. You could see that was a great shot. You could I could see how late Duckworth was onto the brake into the final little segment, but I don't think he's close enough to utilise the toe.
Oh, where do you look? Here they come to the finish line now. Can Duckworth pull out of it? He see Robson trying to break the slipstream. He's not going to get it done. And Robson picks up his 6th win of the season by less than 0.2 of a second.
That was terrific to watch. Robson looked like he was dancing that car down to the start-finish line. But exactly as you said, Matt, he was trying to break the toe so that Duckworth couldn't make inroads on him.
That was a good finish. Duckworth in the #1 machine from 14th up to 2nd in the end. Chapman would hold down 3rd. Tressida in 4th position. Those guys come from the mid-pack in this top 15 inversion. Behind there was Skibberus, Tucker, Stevenson and Carr. Great race. Of course, we come back later today with the overall points of the weekend to set the grid for the final race in round 5 of this year's championship. But Jay Robson, 6 wins in season 2017 ahead of James Duckworth, brings his a winning streak here at Sydney to an end. Reece Chapman, Tressida, Skibberus, Tucker, Stevenson, Carr, Kasukio and Lee Bowler, your top 10. They head back into the pits. We'll head to a break.